A prezentációm a Nemzeti Társadalmi Felzárkózási Stratégia és a RIEP stratégia
My presentation is about the harmonization of the National Social Inclusion Strategy and the Decade Strategy and its challenges. For I would like to give a brief situation analysis on the Roma people in Hungary. There are approximately 750,000 Roma people in Hungary. According to surveys among the Roma people, the poverty rate runs up to 70%, while it is 12% in the case of the national average. Half of the multiply disadvantaged children is of Roma origin. The employment rate of the Roma is lower than 30%. 80% of the Roma children finishes elementary school, however, only 20% of them graduates from high school. Housing segregation tends to be typical in the Roma population. According to surveys, 3% of them lives in segregated residential areas. Territorial disparities are typical. 60% of the Roma live in rural areas. The Hungarian Roma strategy was adopted by the parliament last November. When devising the strategy, previous legitimate policy strategies were taken into account and built in, paying special attention to the decade and making things better for our children strategy and other plans aiming to reduce territorial disparities. EU framework strategy and the EU 2020 strategy must be mentioned as very important. Making the strategy was not a sort of greenfield investment. We endeavored to create a comprehensive strategy and action plan based also on the preliminary achievements. The main intervention areas defined in the National Roma Strategy and these tools are in alignment with the actual problematic fields and show continuity with the goals of the decade strategy and its priority tasks. Both documents promote interventions based on territorial and social aspects and ethnic targeting based on self-declaration. Among the priority intervention areas of the National Roma Strategy, fields of education, health, employment and housing appear in the decade strategy plan. In addition to that, the National Roma Strategy has special focus on child well-being, involvement of the stakeholders, mentality shaping, fight against discrimination, while the decade strategy plan takes equal opportunities, sport, culture, and media in particular account. Peculiar attention of the Roma women appears in the national strategy with more emphasis, and several interventions aim to deal with their problems regarding employment, health, and education. The National Roma Strategy defined its target system in alignment with the EU 2020 strategy, which will secure that the EU funds to cover the goals of the national strategy. The target system, including comprehensive and specific targets, covers the goal of the decade strategy plan, according to which the goal is to integrate Roma people into mainstream society, both socially and economically, and to better their living conditions and their access to public goods, as well as reduce the gap in between the living condition of the Roma and the non-Roma people. All these goals can be achieved through effective economic policies and through creating conditions for long sustainability. In the national strategy, activation of the disadvantaged groups, motivation of self-care appear as emphasized elements, since the only way out of poverty is employment. This idea is supported by the launched and to-be-launched public employment programs. The goals of the framework strategy is in alignment with the decade strategic plans. The national strategy sets out tasks on all those intervention areas which are covered also by the decade strategy, but it even goes beyond. It integrates and reconciles various policies, thus it is able to increase the strategic complexity and coordination ability of the legislation. Working out the intervention was preceded by a thorough scrutiny of the recommendation of previous strategies, studies and researches. The Decade Action Plan was also used as a document of reference. Intervention designed in the strategy and its action plan must be put under a broad monitoring. Therefore, a comprehensive indicator and monitoring system must be set up. The monitoring system is being established by taking into account the indicators set in the Decade Strategic Plan in alignment to its requirements. Establishment of the monitoring and the indicator system is to be based on a broad expert partnership involving, for example, the World Bank, the National Statistical Office, the Social Research Institute, as well as other civil organizations.
kiterjedt szakértői kör bevonásával kívánja megteremteni Magyarország, így például a Világbank, a Központi Statisztikai Hivatal, a Tárki bevonásával. Köszönöm a figyelmet.
Thank you for your attention.